Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go. You want me to love you, but you don't love me now. Why should I give my heart to you? We gonna shut that motor down. I've been searching for you for a long time now, but you've left my heart's vision. Now you want me to stay in your life. That won't happen again. No, you said no. I said no. Can't blame you. No. That's I like that boy. Yeah. Now you want me to stay with your wife. I'm just playing. Words don't say that at all. Not at all. I like that book up. It's back up on you now. And so, my name is Charlie Ray Crawford, and welcome back to the channel. Read a book this week. Real good book. The author is Ann Tyler. Have you ever heard of Ann Tyler? I haven't. I'm glad I did though. And the book is called Redhead by the Side of the Road. And so, what's crazy about this book is it closely resembles a book that I read before and I reviewed here on the channel. It was called A Man Called Uwe. Very insightful book on the dynamic of not willing to or not seeing that we have to change. And so we'll talk a good bit about the book. Shout out to my old lady, Miss Akila. As y'all can see, you know, she's the cry cut queen. As y'all can see, she's the cry cut queen. It's like a crafting thing that a lot of women like to do, and men probably, I'm sure. But as you can see, I'm looking real good here. It's not for sale, nothing like that. She just made it because she had time, and I absolutely adore it. He's on Libby.com. I don't know why I keep saying Libby.com. It's an app. And so, Micah Mortimer is a creature of habit. A self-employed tech expert, superintendent of his Baltimore apartment building, cautious to a fault behind the steering wheel, he seems content leading a steady, circumscribed life. But one day his routines are blown apart when his woman friend, he refuses to call anyone in their late 30s a girlfriend, tells him she's facing eviction, and a teenager shows up at Micah's door claiming to be his son. These surprises and the ways they throw Micah's meticulously organized life off kilter risk changing him forever. An intimate look into the heart and mind of a man who finds those around him just out of reach, and a funny, joyful, deeply compassionate story about seeing the world through new eyes. Redhead by the Side of the Road is a triumph filled with Ann Tyler's signature wit and gimlet-eyed observation. In the blurb it says, it risks changing him forever. And right away I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be a good book because change is not necessarily a bad thing. And to a person like Micah Mortimer or Uwe, you know, it's like the biggest thing in the world. And so there's the conflict right there. I enjoyed the premise. The title, of course, you know, I like those poetic titles. Like, okay, I can't wait till I figure out why they called it that. And when I get to that, is it going to be relieving? Is it going to be a breath of relief? Is it going to make sense? Let's talk just a little bit about, you know, why I like that book, or did I like that book? And so, like I mentioned, I think this book is a classic narration of a person who doesn't realize that even though they're comfortable in the day-to-day, their routines and things that make them comfortable is not necessarily the best for them, right? It's that living within their comfort zones and not stepping out of that isn't fully letting them realize their full and best potential. Even though it's hard to articulate it, if you with somebody and y'all agree upon a certain way, stay accepting, because it might change. And we find out that Micah Mortimer, he has an issue with keeping and retaining women, relationships, and all the way up until the end. I don't want to spoil anything. We realize why, or I should say he realized why, because the author Ann Tyler, she lets us know, she gives us hints and clues, like, okay, what his character flaw potentially is. You know what I mean? Just because you have these routines and, you know what I mean, you think your life is intact in certain other ways, it might be in shambles or whatever. He's very, very tidy. He has set days where he clean, the kitchen, set days where he's taking the trash out. He stays on, the residents in his building, sending emails when they fail the sort of recycling guidelines and things like that. And he feel like he has purpose that way. You know what I mean? But no matter what, just like the Bible says, when God made Adam, it's not good for man to be alone. And so the whole book, he's basically alone outside of his woman friend and things like that. And, his family may call, but it's always best when we have someone, right, to come home to. And I just think he was a character who thought he knew what he wanted, but the entire book is shrouded in a tone of, like he's observing everything. He's lonely and he's observing everything. And I think it was trying to let us know, well, when you don't have a family or someone to go home to, you start to realize things that if you did have a family, you wouldn't be paying attention to. You see the family up the road, and you see two people fighting over a parking meter. You see how a young boy is responding to his mom when he forgot the jacket in the car. I got a daughter right now. I ain't paying attention to none of that. It's like feathers falling out of the sky. What the hell is going on? I feel like a bird just got chopped up by a plane or something. A turbine. It's creepy. Well, goodbye to you, little bird. Little chirp, chirp. Thank the Lord for this breeze, boy. It's hot. And so I think what he has to realize is, what he failed to realize and what his flaw was early is, it's not so much just staying in the comfort zone of our bubble. When we want something more, when we want family and we wish certain things would happen, we also have to accept the mess that comes with having something like that. If you're a person who likes to be alone, like your boy. I know that the story opens up with a lot of exposition, though. I wasn't real keen onto that. There's a lot of exposition, a lot of telling going on, you know what I mean? He's this type of person, he's this type of person, instead of showing us. But it is a shorter book. It's like a novella or whatever. It's not really a long novel. Even though I wished it was longer, it still hit its message, you know what I mean? There was a dinner scene. It just lasted too long. And so I think that was my main issue. One of the main issues I had with this book is that it was one-dimensional in what it was trying to tell us and what it was trying to get off. And with that, it was the scenes were stretched. It seemed like the scenes were stretched to meet a sort of word count or whatever, and that that kind of epitomized it. I'm talking about this dinner scene. It just went on too long, and it's a lot of him just speaking on the phone to customers, going to customers, fixing up computers and printers, anything technical or whatever, dealing with the people in this building. I didn't really see so much meaning and benefits to the fluff or whatever. I guess it was trying to show him in his normal routine, and while we as the reader could get bored with it, like, okay, come on, he got to figure that out, not me or you, not me or you. Still got some coffee. Need my coffee juice. I mean, just a pretty basic book. It had a good point when it came to don't just stay within the same routines and things like that. Sometimes you got to switch things up in this life, because the years are long, life is short, but the relationships that we had need to be taken advantage of in the right way to take advantage of everybody's time. And there was some quotes and things that I liked. It occurred to him, not for the first time, that prophetic dreams were not much use if their meanings emerged only in hindsight. So the second one kind of leads into the takeaways, right? There was some nice takeaways. I think one of them was relationships aren't perfect, right? I mean, that makes sense. But the thing is, with that knowledge, we have to realize that we have to get to a point where it's solidified. You know what I mean? There's a quote that says of Cass's and Micah's relationship when everything was good. He had the notion that compromises were arrived at, incompatibilities adjusted to, minor quirks overlooked. They had it down to a system. And that's the way he thought about it. And even though, you know, you read the story and you realize, like, okay, there need to be some tinkering going on with the relationship, but thinking about that, you know what I mean? No matter what's going on in your relationship with your significant other, they're not going to be that perfect carve out that you have in your brain, your dream girl, your dream guy. So again, the quirks going to have to be adjusted to, compromise is going to have to be arrived at, things like that, if you really love the person, because that's how you make it work. And another takeaway is he had this theory. It was the old girlfriend theory, where every relationship that we have, and this can apply to boyfriends as well, every relationship that we have, it chips away at us. Okay, so the more and more that we go on, and the new girlfriend or boyfriend that we might have, we're not able to love them, you know, fully because of the old relationship. You know what I mean? Like, the more and more you go, the less love that you're able to give. You know what I mean? So each relationship that you have, it subtracts something from you. And of course, that's not scientifically proven or nothing like that. It's just an idea in this book. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. There's many examples out there, I'm sure, of even in your own life where you leave a relationship, you're not able to give the next person that you get in a relationship with because of, say, baggage, or maybe it was a toxicity, or maybe that person didn't love you enough and there's insecurities. And so think about that. Maybe that's why in the old days they used to set up people. You know what I mean? Because it was the first relationship, and how can they go into that relationship and not love fully? All they need to do is just adjust to somebody, which goes back to my first takeaway, which is eventually we get to a point where we solidify in any relationship. We learn to love and things like that. And so, again, that's just another beautiful idea that came from this story. And another one came towards the end, where I noticed he started to feel, the word was sprightly. He started to feel sprightly because he was given a project. Again, when you're going through your routine and day in and day out, you're coming home to yourself and your schedule. Eventually, when you get a call from somebody, you perk up. You get a visit from somebody, you perk up. And you're given a project from somebody and for someone, you can become sprightly and perk up at that as well. And so that goes into the idea of we always sense and feel purpose when we're doing for others, and when we're out of our comfort zone, and when we doing what we're passionate about. The last one is the black sheep. He was sure of himself, and even though he had some change to figure out, I didn't necessarily think that he was someone who hated being the black sheep of the family. They say he was nitpicky or whatever, but that can enhance somebody's life. Believe it or not, people don't want to tighten up, and he already had that going for himself. And so don't feel so bad if you're the black sheep or the misfit of the family. A lot of misfits and black sheeps and nerds and weirdos, you know what I mean, turn into the millionaires of the world. And people who went on because they had a focused mindset, and then, let's say, give in to peer pressure or want to be with the masses and be cool. Later down the line, they was rewarded based off of that virtue. And so, just take that from Micah. Who would enjoy the book? People who like shorter novels, novellas as they call them. That sort of a man called Uwe Vibe, right? A man who's by himself, up in age, looking for something, don't know what he's looking for. Join him on the journey as he finds it, right? You know, he was able to touch these people's lives in a way where it turned around and they touched his life for the better. The ending kind of pissed me off because there was no, at least to me, there was no denouement, or as they say, the fall in action. It just, I didn't really know where the climax was, and I guess I know what it is now. It involved the young boy maybe, but I did not see the ending coming. You know, I'm driving and I'm thinking it's gonna be a chapter 9, chapter 10, and it just said, okay, this has been a audio covering of blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, damn, didn't expect it to end like that. And so that kind of messed with me a little bit. But again, you know, we spit out the bones and we just take the meat in these sort of books, and we let it surround us, it get all up on us, and we able to apply it to our lives. And so whatever areas that I'm struggling with and change, I'm able to look at the downfalls of Mr. Michael Mortimer and try not to fall in the same traps. And so overall, I gave the book a 3.5 stars. You know, I think this is my first book on here to go under 4. And on this channel, you know, people might wonder, okay, well, how do you rate your books? If I learn something, if I'm able to enjoy the book, it's not so much the craft to me and things like that. I'm not that type of channel. It's rather I like the book or not. I'm not analyzing it, going crazy and stuff like that. I'm really not. It's just basic. But if I'm able to take away something from it, or multiple things, you know, it gets a lot of basis points. And anything over 3, because I find the beauty in everything, anything over 3 is something that I'm happy I have read. And so I appreciate it, Miss Ann Tyler. I'm gonna read something else by you, you know what I mean? Get you a 4.5 or a 5 on this channel. And I see what you was doing with Micah, and it was a great character. Just wish it was more dimensions to him and the plot, you know what I mean? I was looking like, okay, well, let somebody come out of the damn woodwork in the alley and stab him, man. Like, let something happen. Like, let's speed up what he needs to realize about himself. But it's a slow burn, even though it was a short book, and I definitely learned a little something about how we need to change and how we need to accept ourselves as ourselves and accept ourselves as who we need to become. And so I'm that way. And so peace. Charleroi out. She sing, I like that book. Yeah, man.